My name is Danielle Askin now, but the byline on the op-ed that I wrote for the New York Daily News in 2016 reads Danielle Yefsa. I've collected surnames throughout my adult life by marrying instead of dating, which as it happens is its own essay. In 2012, I was pregnant with my youngest child, living in a fourth floor walk-up in Brooklyn when I fell down half a flight of stairs. My right hip had a searing pain that made it impossible for me to catch the next step before I fell over. The baby was fine. 10 fingers, 10 toes. We were very lucky. The symptoms that followed felt like a door being knocked open from the inside. Months later, I was crying while walking a single block. By the time I saw a rheumatologist, I was using a cane, and I had not yet turned 30. She diagnosed me with psoriatic arthritis. It's an autoimmune disease that attacks the joints, and in my case, it attacks all my joints. When we discussed treatment options, I learned that the largest insurance companies in the country had lobbied New York legislators for a specific treatment protocol. It required physicians to prescribe the cheapest medications first. The insurance company called it step therapy. Patients called it fail first because that's exactly what it requires. You have to fail on the cheaper medication before you're even considered for the medication your doctor first prescribed. In my case, that meant low-dose chemotherapy and high-dose steroids for years. That combination gave me osteoporosis. It gave me scoliosis. It took an inch from my height. It took years before I was permitted to try the medication that was actually made for my disease. I went to Albany. I joined a patient advocacy network, and we went to the Capitol to petition New York state senators in their offices. We overturned the step therapy in New York. The 50-state network recognized my advocacy publicly. But the insurance company's pack didn't stop with New York. The practice still exists today in other states, in other rheumatologist offices, in other people's bodies. The insurance lobby operated like the railroad operated. They funded legislators who wrote the preferred outcome into law and made the patient responsible for the consequences of the policy. When the physical damage was documented in medical documents, presented in the New York Daily News, in testimony before New York legislators, the industry called it a cost-saving measure. The railroad company called Seth's death his own fault. The coroner agreed. Here's what they all three have in common. Seth, Box Elder County, and my spine. Here's what all three have in common. Seth, Box Elder County, Utah, and my spine. Here's what all three stories, Seth's, Box Elder County, Utah, and my spine, have in common. And it's not villains. The structure does not remain in the political arena. It arrives in human bodies. A record 55% of Americans report that their personal financial situation is worse. People vote their fear. They always have. The fear is legitimate. What the Glens and Page data tells us is that the system is specifically designed to absorb that fear without responding to it, to give the appearance of representation while routing all outcomes towards capital. Thursday, I'm handing you the diagnostic. 3 questions that will change how you read every system that you live in.